I'm at the Woody Ridge Trailhead in the Black Mountains of North Carolina. This is considered to be one of, if not the hardest hike in North Carolina. I've done this 3 times before, so it's the first time I've done it though in 4 years. So kind of eager to get this started. I'll show you the trailhead here coming up. Here you go. It starts off pretty gentle, just a slight incline. And this area did get hit hard by the hurricane 2 years ago. When I hiked a section of the Black Mountain Crest Trail last summer, I met a guy and his daughter who came up Woody Ridge, and he said it was in good shape. Start off near the Shuford Creek. I've done all kinds of trails out here. I did a loop out here back in 2020 using some forest roads. Came back, I think it was that trail right there. I made a loop using Woody Ridge, Black Mountain Crest Trail, and Culbert Ridge, and then got on just a side path and came down a forest road and connected via this trail right here. It was like 13 miles, I think. 12-13 miles, something like that. That was a pretty cool loop. I'm not going to do that today. I've also gone down to the Isom mica mine, which is right off the Black Mountain Crest Trail, down a forest road. Yellow diamonds on the tree indicating where the trail is. All right, I'm only 3/4 of a mile in, and my heart rate's already exceeded what it was on the previous two trips. My max heart rate on those 2 trips when I was looking at my watch was 159 beats per minute. On this trail, already 3/4 of a mile in, I've exceeded that. I was at 167 beats per minute, but it came down really fast to 142 in just a matter of like 30 seconds. I didn't really count it, but it was pretty quick. All right, so don't let this brief flat spot fool you, because this is about to get a whole lot harder. It's just a short reprieve from what's ahead, and it's about to get really tough. As I was saying earlier, there's places where you just got to climb up these little rock ledges where it gets like 90-degree angles. They're not real high, so you don't have to worry about it if you're afraid of heights. I'm afraid of heights, so I'd be a little bit reticent to do it myself if it was like that. But it is about 5 or 10 foot little ledges, and there's there's handholds, and there's places to rest your foot, so it's not that bad. It's just strenuous. You take your time, you'll be fine. All right, I've gained 1,100 feet and 1.3 miles in 45 minutes. That tells you something, because my normal pace is 2.6 to 3 miles per hour on, kind of hilly terrain. Really difficult terrain slows me down below 2.5 miles per hour, but this, as I remember it, doing it 3 times prior, slowed me down to well below 2 miles per hour. I think it was like average 1.6 miles per hour. So that just goes to show you I'm a fast hiker, and it slows me down that much. So just be prepared when you come out here. Know your limitations, and don't overexert yourself, because it is a butt kicker. I would just say, this is probably not for beginners. Definitely not for beginners. It's the hardest trail in the state. The hardest short trail in the state is what I would say. Not the hardest, I don't think. I think Slick Rock Creek is the hardest, because that one's in a wilderness, and wilderness areas you gotta navigate differently because there's no blazes on the trees. So best to know how to navigate. I use GPS, but I like to cheat. I mean, map and compass is best. I've said that before. The hardest trails in the state are as follows. Black Mountain Crest Trail comes up a lot as the March of Death, 22 miles. 7,000 feet elevation gain, done it 3 times. Well, actually, correction, done it twice on a through hike. Once was out and back solo, and the second time was with a friend, going Nobo, which is the easier direction because you lose more elevation than you gain. But Old Butt Knob is a tough one in Shining Rock Wilderness. A lot of elevation gain, pretty short distance. You can make a loop out of it using Shining Creek for about 10 miles. Middle Prong Wilderness right next door is also very difficult. If you go up Green Mountain, that's arguably the most difficult trail in Middle Prong Wilderness and one of the most difficult in the state. Linville Gorge Grand Loop, done that one. That was probably the hardest trail I've ever done just because the mileage is a lot more. It took 2.5 days to do 36 miles and it was over 6,000 feet elevation gain. So those would be the trails I would list as the hardest. However, I've not done the Slick Rock Creek Trail. I've only done a section of it on my section hike of the Benton MacKay Trail back in 2022. So anyway, I'll show you this here. Look how overgrown that is. I don't remember it ever being that overgrown. Although, having already stated that I'm about 1.3 miles in, I've not seen any hurricane damage so far, so hopefully it's like that all the way up. It's thick. Keeps winding its way up until it gets even steeper, and you got to crawl up on with your hands. This is a butt kicker, man. I'm having fun now. You might not know it by looking at me, but I'm having fun, even though I'm getting my ass handed to me. Might be steep, but it's great for the body and mind, man. Getting out here and doing this. One thing I like about these higher elevation trails, it's cooler. You start off over 3,000 feet. I think it was 65 is what the forecast said it was where I started, but it's supposed to be in the low 60s up top. Just heard an animal. I think it was a squirrel or something. Anyway, yeah, it's supposed to be in the low 60s up top, going up to the low 70s, low to mid 70s. It's just very humid because it's supposed to rain this afternoon, so humidity is really high, but it's not oppressive though because of the cool temperatures. That's a big rock. Somebody put a fire pit down there, make a camp. Now I'm over 2 miles in. Should be coming up on what's called Hell's Half Mile a little bit, because I think it gains, was it 800 feet, 700 feet elevation in a half a mile. So it's the most difficult half mile section of the whole 3 mile trail coming up. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Fog cleared enough to get a view. I still have a lot of climbing to do. Check this view out, man. This is pretty amazing. I don't remember it being this open last time I was here 4 years ago. Maybe Helene helped with that, clearing some of the dead trees up here on the cliff. That is a great view. And here's the trail, so if you're afraid of heights, just don't look down. Which I am afraid of heights, but this doesn't bother me because the edge is it's more than my body length away, so it's probably about 8 feet away, so that doesn't bother me. Still climbing though. All right, tight squeeze. Suck in your gut. Going through the eye of the needle. What's that biblical verse? It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. There you have it, folks. All right, here's the Black Mountain Crest Trail right in front of me here. I've climbed almost 3,000 feet in 2.5 miles. I was like 2.5 hours. That was only like an hour and a half walking time. Took a lot of breaks, filming, resting, trying to get my heart rate down. Whew, that's a tough one, folks. One of my favorites though, Black Mountain Crest Trail is also one of my favorites. I love this terrain up here, the scenery, the high altitude Appalachian Mountains, above 6,000 feet. I'm at 6,153 feet here. I'll show you here in a moment, once I get on the actual crest trail. There's where I came from, Woody Ridge Trail. Here's the Black Mountain Crest Trail going north towards Burnsville and Bolins Creek, which is the northern terminus. That's where I like to start from, traditionally speaking anyway, where I usually start from. Have started from Mount Mitchell State Park, which is in that direction, so I don't remember the miles point to point from where I'm at right now, but it's a lot of hiking, let's just put it that way. Well, I do know that it's about 3.5 from Bolins Creek to this point, so I'll probably put it at about 7.5 to Mount Mitchell State Park from here, just doing the math. But 7.5 brutal miles. It goes up and down like a roller coaster above the ridges. Next one would be Winter Star Mountain, the big one. That's a pretty good climb. But anyway, you get great views up here. I'm going over here to Horse Rock. And I'm not going to summit Silo Knob. I did that last year. I did that a couple times in the past. It's pretty muddy up here too. Must have rained here yesterday. It rained back in town. But here, yeah, this is a beautiful trail. It gets pretty overgrown in the summer, as you could see. Grass gets really high. That's the way the trails are up here at Mount Mitchell. Pretty open like this, except for when you go into the pine forest. It's a very thick pine forest, as you can see in front of me. That's towards Silo Knob. Very, very thick. And it's a pretty distinguishable trail. I'll show it to you when I get up there, but I'm heading over there for a break. All right, here's Horse Rock. And there's your view. I don't know if you guys can notice this from the video, but you can see on the sides of the ridges, there's some scarring. I don't remember that from, I mean, I was here last year, but I didn't really take notice of that. Looks like it's probably storm damage from Helene maybe, because I don't ever recall any of that, honestly. All my times here. Probably some landslides there, as you could see. All right, there's Silo Knob in the distance. I always like looking at that as I'm walking. It's just so cool because it's just a big green hump on the ridge. Well, ladies and gentle tubers, this is officially the summit of Horse Rock and Percy Peak. I'd never thought I'd be able to reach it because it was so thick. Coming through all this heavy timber of balsam pine trees and whatnot. You can see how thick the terrain is and how unforgiving it is. But I found a way through and I made it to the top. There's no summit marker. I don't remember if this is part of the South Beyond 6K challenge or not, but it looks like there's a faint trail here. I'm gonna follow it. It wasn't much of a rock scramble. When you come upon it, I'll show it in the video when I get back down. When you come upon it, it looks like a giant boulder that I'm standing on. But there's a nice little path that takes you around. It skirts around the base of the rock, and there's a nice gentle climb to the top, and it's not that high. So if you're afraid of heights, it shouldn't intimidate you too much. But I guess this is the official highest point of the rock. Here it is. No summit marker, but this is the top, the highest point of Horse Rock. Let's see if we get a view. Well, there's a view. So I was below it when I took my break. But this is it, folks. It's pretty neat. And there's Silo Knob over there in the far distance. Just followed this side path right here that skirts the base of the mountain. And came over here. Found a nice easy climb up. So I'll show you how I found the trail to get here. It's not really a trail. It's definitely off trail, but it's a faint path that you should be able to follow. Imagine it might be a little easier in the winter, but I mean, I don't know how much easier because these are evergreen pines and, you know, some thick understory, but the ferns, I imagine, only come up in the summer. So anyway, I'll show it to you when I get to the start of it. I didn't document it because I wasn't sure I was actually going to find it until I got here, and then figured I'd show it to you when I'm heading back. Here's the side path for Silo Knob. I'm not going to summit that today. I did that last year in 2022, 2021. So I'm just showing it to you guys. It's right off the crest trail. And shortly after the side path for Silo Knob, you can continue north on the crest trail to Boland's Creek, another 3 miles, or you can go down here for about, I think it's about 1.5 miles. Been there once, to the Isomika mine right off the Winter Star Road. I don't know if I want to do that today though, because that'll put me getting back home pretty late, because that'll add about 4 miles to the total mileage of this trip. This total mileage right now is at, it's going to be between 5 and 6 miles. That'll put me closer to 10. So I don't know if I have time for that today. I might have to come back to document that one more time because that is pretty neat. You can check out my previous video from 4 years ago. It's on the channel where I do the hike up Woody Ridge and then come down to the Isom mica mine. So anyway, I think I'm gonna head back now. Also, that would gain about another 1,000 feet elevation gain because you go down about 1,000 feet. You have to come back up to 1,000 feet to, what is it, 5,100 feet at that elevation, and you come back up to 6,100 feet here on the ridge. So yeah, I don't have the time to do that today, but that is a pretty fun little quest, little side quest on the main trail, off the main trail, I should say. Here is the side path for Horse Rock and Percy's Peak. Once you see this rock here by this tree, it's a pretty distinctive tree right off the trail. We'll see a knob in the distance looking north. Just come up to this rock and you should be able to see very faint path there, right there. Very thick vegetation. Watch your footing because it's uneven, very uneven terrain. But you just, if you're following GPS like I did, I use Gaia GPS, you should be able to find your route to the summit, which is in through there. Very, very thick vegetation though, especially at the start here. And then once you get into the pines there, then it's a lot of climbing over fallen trees and a lot of pointy partial branches and whatnot. You cut your legs up. I'm wearing shorts, so just you have to be pretty careful. Watch your steps, take your time. You should be able to find it. It wasn't too bad. You'll be able to see the rock. It's not even half a mile round trip, folks. Very easy.